Hello and welcome to the House of Commentary. Today we're going to be talking about the World Cup, Qatar 2022. We're going to do a quick recap on the group stages and what happened in the first round of knockout games. With me today is Stats.
Hello everyone.
And myself, and we're going to basically go through really a summary of what's actually happened over the last week or so. So how about we talk about what happened at the group stages?
Let's get straight into it.
Yeah, get it straight into it. Exactly.
So Group A, Netherlands, Senegal, Ecuador, and Qatar.
And what happened there?
So Netherlands and Senegal were the first two to go through.
So Netherlands finished top.
Yes, they did.
Senegal finished second.
And the host team were out at the first hurdle, unfortunately.
Yeah, Qatar didn't get a single point. I can't even remember the last time a host nation didn't get a point, but maybe it's the first time. They were very poor, though. They're a very poor team.
Yeah, I remember the first game against Ecuador. The players looked like they just didn't want to be there.
That's right. I think the problem is that with Qatar, what's happened is they spent so much time making these stadiums and getting ready. They had more than 10 years. You would think that in that 10-year period...
They would have a stronger team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if they took 1,000 kids and said, right, we're going to pay for you to join the top 20 teams in Europe just for training purposes, you'd easily get a team of 26 or 30 good players out of that. And it looked like these guys were just completely out of their league.
Yeah, I think they literally underestimated the competition they were in.
Quite possibly. So Netherlands got through. Senegal, we expected them to get through, really, didn't we?
Yeah.
As African champions. So that was very much, it went according to what we thought it would. Group B.
England,
yep.
And then second, and then taking the silver position is USA.
Yeah, second position was USA, followed by
Iran
and
Wales dead last.
Yeah, I mean, I felt sorry for the Welsh, really.
Yeah, I mean, 56 years since they lost.
Yeah, it's been a long time since 1958. 56 years. You'd think they'd have actually
put up a fight.
Well, no, they did put up a fight, but I think we all were hoping they'd do well. Unfortunately, having drawn to USA, they lost to Iran. I mean, we knew they were going to lose to the English, to be honest. I think England had got a good team. By that time, the only problem with England was they had such a horrible match with the USA.
And I tell you what, looking at that match is like, what am I witnessing? Like, this is supposed to be the best players in the country has to offer, and they can't even beat the USA.
I know, and it was a really turgid, boring game. Which and to be honest, I still think, and I know it sounds terrible even now in reflecting, but USA deserved to win that game.
Yeah.
They were really going for it.
Yeah, and also, I'm going to stop me saying this, but generally during that game, I got so bored that I generally fell asleep. Because I was literally waiting for something to like happen. Like, you literally expect one team to score a goal.
That's right. And there were so few chances from the English team. It was poor. But they came back and they were brilliant against the Welsh. Won that very convincingly, and the USA beat Iran.
Iran.
Yeah. So end of the day, the teams that won deserve to go through, and that's as it should be.
Yeah.
So England went through, USA went through, and Iran and Wales went home.
Yep. So Group C, Argentina, Poland, Mexico, Saudi Arabia.
This was a weird group.
It was.
I mean, if you actually think about it, it was a really weird group. Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia right at the beginning.
And you'd think that they wouldn't be able to pull it back, but they did.
Yeah, they looked so poor against Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
but they had a really good game against Mexico. Beat them, and then the final game was against Poland, and that was actually, it was exciting for the weirdest of reasons, in that Mexico really put up a good fight. They had to beat Saudi Arabia and beat them well, and it was a really good fight. They did really well, but unfortunately they lost on. They couldn't score enough goals. We needed one more goal, couldn't find it, and Poland went through. So,
Yeah.
again, Argentina, Poland, more, I would have liked to see Mexico go through, but Poland, end of the day, if you win a game and then you got the most goals.
Yeah. And not to mention, they've got Lewandowski and Argentina have got Messi. So
Yeah, we've got good players. Let's see if they can actually do anything. I must admit, Lewandowski's penalty, which he had to retake.
Oh, yeah.
Bloody horrible penalty, I tell you. In fact, there were some commentators who said that penalty shouldn't be allowed because he actually starts running and then he stops. And a lot of people think the rule should be once you start your run for the penalty,
Just take it.
You shouldn't be allowed to stop. So Argentina, Poland went through. Group D.
France, Australia, Tunisia, Denmark. I mean, we pretty much expected France to go through because of the current world champions. So.
Absolutely. Obviously, the problem was that France lost to Tunisia, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which was an incredible result. But the strange thing about this group is I don't think many people thought Australia would get through. Australia finished second.
Like, I had my money on Denmark purely because they had Christian Eriksen.
Yeah, but, end of the day, Australia beat Tunisia, they beat Denmark. And deserved winners. So, I felt sorry for Denmark.
Yeah, but the thing is, I will actually say, though, I am happy. I think everyone was happy to see Christian Eriksen back on the field after what happened at the Euros last year.
Yeah, that's right. But that's to be expected.
Yeah. And he even got a standing ovation when his name was announced.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. So, again, France went through. Australia, who nobody expected to go through, got through. And I think that's fantastic for Australian football. Tunisia, a bit unlucky. Denmark just weren't at the races. They were really poor. Then it was Group E.
Now, this one is also interesting.
Okay.
Japan, Spain, Germany, Costa Rica.
This was almost like it became a group of death in some respects, didn't it? I mean, Japan were amazing. They won 2 games, I think, didn't they? They won 2 games. Yeah, they won 2 games, and they deserved winners of the group. I mean, the fact that they won the group, nobody would have expected them to win the group. I think many people were expecting Germany and Spain to go through.
But I also think Germany, I actually think this tournament was literally, they weren't fit for this tournament.
Yeah, it's a very strange thing with Germany because they didn't do very well at the Euros. And when you start thinking about it, they've this. Everyone says they're going through transition. But, Germany's got some really strong German teams in their league. They're doing really well in the Champions League. You'd have thought they would have at least got through the group stages. Mm-hmm. The fact they weren't able to is really bad. And yes, they won 1 game and drew 1, but that isn't good enough, really. And Spain were lucky. Spain got through based on the fact that they didn't let any goals in.
Yeah.
Sorry, they let fewer goals in, not letting in goals. They let fewer goals in. Spain should have got through with ease, but they didn't, and that's not good, is it? So Spain went into came out of the group. I think a lot of people were surprised that they weren't as strong, weren't as good. They started out brilliantly.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they started out brilliantly. I think they beat Costa Rica something like 7-0 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's true. They absolutely busted Costa Rica.
Yeah, exactly. And you'd expect them to continue like that, but they just couldn't get that sort of momentum again, which is really, really weird. And Germany, again, very strange, but
it is what it is.
It is what it is. And so Japan I thoroughly enjoyed watching them. I thought they thoroughly deserved to go through. One of the things, I don't know if you know, but the Japanese, they consider football stadiums, because they're stadiums where great things can happen, they treat them like temples. And at the end of the game, the fans start cleaning the stadium. And
it's actually I think that's a great thing to see in the World Cup.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, the Japanese fans were magnificent. And I was so happy for them when Japan didn't just go through, but finished top of the group. That's brilliant. And then it was Group F.
Now, this was also an interesting table.
Yeah.
Morocco, Croatia, Belgium, Canada.
This was a really strange group. Again, I don't think anybody could have guessed that Belgium
would be out
at this stage. the ranked second best team in the world behind Brazil. A very, very strong squad. Yes, aging players, but finishing third is pathetic.
I'm not gonna even lie, it is.
And Belgium were really poor. They were really poor.
And do you think they got to the semi-finals in the last World Cup?
Yeah, exactly. So very, very poor. Canada, I think Canada did well to score a goal.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think Canada were doomed from the start purely because of the talent Croatia and Belgium had.
Yeah. I mean, the other teams are so much stronger. But Canada, I thought they did well. Yes, they scored a couple of goals. I think it's the first time they scored goals at the World Cup. But to me, I just like the fact that they were trying all the time. I thought it was really good. Belgium, they were very poor. I must admit, I was very surprised when you look at this table. You see Morocco at the top and Croatia second.
Belgium out.
Yeah, but Croatia, Modric was magnificent.
Oh, definitely.
In all the games, he was really good. But Morocco, I think they shocked everybody with how good. There's so much passion. The other thing is that the stadiums seem to be full of Moroccan fans when Morocco are playing. So obviously it shows, being North African and being near the Middle East,
they have a massive fan base.
Yeah, we can get their fan base.
And also, the interesting thing is with the Belgian team, I was actually surprised. I actually felt sorry for Rudiger because the amount of shots that he took just to try and save them. You'd think he would have scored.
That's right.
Because I think Belgium had like 5 shots on target in the whole game.
Very few shots in the final game. Yeah, it was really poor, really poor. So Belgium went home and Canada went home, and Belgium, to be quite honest, I think they played so badly. I think they were one of the worst teams in terms of their display at the World Cup, which is really bad when you think about some of the other teams. Group G.
So I think there was no surprises here. Brazil obviously going first. Obviously not finishing first yet. Then second was interesting. So Switzerland to finish second, and then Cameroon and Serbia were going home. Yeah,
Cameroon, I was a bit surprised. I thought Cameroon might just sort of sneak it. But Brazil, obviously, very, very strong team.
I mean, they're double Olympic gold medalists, so...
The strange thing is, they actually lost a game, which was weird. Really, if you just think about it, the fact they lost a game was really weird. However, they scored some great goals.
Yeah. And I mean, I think Richarlison is definitely the star of this Brazilian team.
At the moment, I think he is, and some of the goals he scored are fantastic. Switzerland, I think they deserve to go through because in all the games they kept the standard high for their play, and it shows with the fact they won 2 games. Cameroon and Serbia, basically, if you can't win the games, well, you end up going home.
Yeah.
So that really sort of more or less went as we expected. And then what was said to be the group of death and turned out to be a group of death is Group H.
I agree. So this one, Portugal, South Korea, Uruguay, Ghana. It literally came down to the last match to see who was finished second.
In fact, with many of the thing that's really exciting about these group stages, the last match turned out to be so important in more or less all the groups.
It's basically like the life or death situation for this group particularly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Portugal. There was a stage when I think any one of these teams could have actually gone through, wasn't it?
Yes.
Portugal obviously got through in the end, 2 wins, and then South Korea, Uruguay, and Ghana. And the strange thing is, South Korea, when their match actually finished 10 minutes earlier than the Portugal-Uruguay match.
Yeah.
And Uruguay thought they were going through. Then South Korea
scored the second goal.
Yeah. And on goal difference, they got 1 goal ahead. And the crazy thing is, the Uruguayans then suddenly realised they need to score a goal. However,
they took Suarez off.
Yeah, they took the Suarez off, and and then Cavani just wasn't able to
find the net.
But there is one thing: there was a penalty call right at the end, and the referee didn't give the penalty. VAR didn't give the penalty, But when you look at it again, most times that would have been given as a penalty.
Yeah.
So it was quite strange. And the other thing about the Uruguay and Ghana, when they played, which I thought was quite interesting, it was the main story, really, wasn't it? Because in a previous World Cup, Ghana had actually got knocked out because of a penalty situation that
wasn't that was
Suarez
it,
handballed the ball.
Yeah, that was in the 2010 World Cup in South Africa.
That's right. And the Guyanese wanted to have revenge for that. No sooner did the match start than Ghana get a penalty, and they're thinking, "Oh my God, they are going to get their revenge," but the guy misses the penalty. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and the penalty shouldn't have been given, I don't think, but it was given. But when I look at it, I'm just glad the South Koreans actually got through. The South Korean, the fans are fantastic. They were trying all the time. And I like it when teams have energy and are really going for a victory. So to me, Uruguay would have got through if they'd had that attitude throughout their matches.
Yeah, the thing is, I actually felt sorry for Uruguay because this was Suarez's last World Cup.
Wow. You can feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I don't. Because I even remember seeing his reaction.
I must admit, it's quite strange actually, and I think it was genuine with him. He had a genuine emotion of, my God, we haven't got through this group, and this is the end of my chance of doing it any better at the World Cup. So I felt for him that in that respect, but at the end of the day, I like the idea that South Korea got through. Yeah. So it was really the group stages were fantastic.
And I can just imagine how the South Korean fans were like when they had to wait for 10 minutes to find out if they got through or not.
Yeah, exactly. It
was actually like we watched a film and you were literally on the edge of your seat.
That it was, yeah, and it was fantastic. And again, the group stages, the second matches weren't fantastic. Some of them were pretty good, but in the main they weren't really that fantastic. But the first game and the third games were fantastic. And the third games in the main were all really good. And I think part of it was because the third game, both matches were played at the same time. Yeah, so therefore, it was just very exciting. I thought it was fantastic. So we then got through to the knockout stages, the round of 16 for the first time. And I thought overall pretty good games, really.
I agree.
The first one, obviously, was Netherlands and Argentina.
Netherlands, USA.
Oh, sorry, Netherlands and USA. Yeah, my mistake. Netherlands, USA.
No, I think this one here, I actually predicted Netherlands. I think everybody was thinking Netherlands were easily going to win this game.
Yeah, and they did. Was it 3-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, but also having said that, I will say though, I think everybody's happy that USA scored one goal.
Yeah, I agree.
But the thing is, with the USA team, I don't think anybody can put the ball in the net apart from Pulisic.
Yeah, they were really struggling. I mean, and I think one of the other guys scored, but he seems to be the main man. He was very much the main man in terms of striking attack, and they just didn't have enough options. And it's a pity because I thought the US had a lot of energy. But they just couldn't turn it on.
Yeah, and I also think the USA underestimated Netherlands' strategy.
Oh, but yeah, definitely. The Netherlands team played a brilliant tactical game. Basically, all the other teams had attacked the USA, and what the Dutch did was so clever. They decided not to attack the USA and just sit back, and they man-marked all of the players, all the outfield players, except the two centre-backs for USA. So these two centre-backs, these two defenders, turns out they can't bring them past the ball properly.
Yeah, no,
they really struggled.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching that game. Every time USA got the ball, they seemed to give it to the Dutch players.
Yeah, but just gave it away every time. And it was such a brilliant tactic. And even after the first half had gone through, you'd think they'd changed their tactics and they'd try and implement some sort of change. The USA would try to come up with their strategy. They still didn't.
No, which is weird because they're supposed to be...
Yeah, they're supposed to be, really be able to be aggressive and fast and really up. But they just couldn't do it. And Netherlands deserved winners.
Oh, 100%.
Then it was Argentina, Australia.
This game was also interesting because Australia got a penalty in the first few minutes of the game, I think.
Yeah, Australia scored, and but at the beginning. But I tell you something, Argentina were fantastic. Messi was fantastic. And yes, the scoreline was 2-1, but actually it should have been a lot more. Messi put on so many assists for the other players around him. It could easily, if they had taken the chances he laid out for them, it could have easily have been 5-1. But they just couldn't seem to hit the back of the net. But still, they thoroughly deserved that. And it was a great game. It was a great game. Then you had France and Poland.
This was also a big game because you got Lewandowski versus Mbappe and Giroud.
Yeah, and he lost badly, basically. So, I mean, Mbappe scored 2. Giroud scored a goal that brought him level with...
No, that actually, yes. No, he has actually scored the most goals.
He scored, The previous game, he came level with Thierry Henry. This game, with that extra goal, he became the top scorer.
Yeah, with 52 goals.
History. Yeah, that's right, 52. It's fantastic. It was a great game,
and he deserves his wealth after all he's done.
He's not celebrated in the way that he should be because he scores goals. He just gets on with it.
Yeah,
he's quite incredible. It really is amazing how he just seems to know where the goal is and where to shoot the ball.
It's actually like watching Haaland play, where for Man City, like he's always there when the ball comes.
Exactly. And then Mbappe's goals were fantastic. I mean, absolutely magnificent. So basically, it was 3-0, and then at the end, Lewandowski got his penalty, which he had to take a second time. He had to take it twice in order to score. So that was just it is what it is.
And then the next game was next game. England-Senegal.
This was obviously we were cheering on England, but the I think there was at that time before the match. I think a lot of people were worried because the USA game had been very poor. We'd beaten the Welsh really well, but even the Welsh admitted they hadn't played as well as they could have played. So you end up thinking, well, are England going to be any good in this game? And everybody was worried. Yeah,
and I think that and during the build-up. All the Senegal fans were literally up on cheering, saying Senegal, Senegal.
They were really sort of getting. They genuinely believed they were going to win the game, which is fine. It's good to be optimistic.
Yeah.
I think the great thing was that Southgate, the manager of England, Gareth Southgate, actually changed the lineup and included Phil Foden.
Yeah,
he made a massive difference.
Oh, definitely, because I remember after the USA game, everyone was literally on. I was looking at the socials, okay, and the first thing that everyone said was, "Why didn't you put Foden on the pitch? Where's Foden?"
Yeah, exactly. That is true. The star of the show, of course, was Jude Bellingham.
Oh,
he had
definitely.
a fantastic game, absolutely fantastic game, and. Yeah, England ran out 3-0.
And also Harry Kane finally got his goal.
That's right. He
because up until this point, he had yet to score in the tournament.
That's right.
And I remember I think everyone was thinking, when is he going to get his goal?
That's right. There was concern about that. And then Japan-Croatia.
Oh my God, this game.
I don't know.
Lost for words.
Japan were fantastic.
Up until the penalty shootout.
Yeah, Japan were fantastic. Croatia, for some reason, just couldn't get into gear. And I really thought, wow, okay, Japan are going to win this. They just couldn't find the goal to get into the... They scored one goal, but they couldn't find a second. And they had energy, but they just couldn't get a shot on target that was meaningful. And then it went to penalties, and the penalties, oh my God.
The worst shootout I think we've ever seen in the tournament.
I think it made it even worse that Croatia was so good. Croatia basically missed one penalty, and that was because the guy was just too lazy. He's just crazily lazy. It was considered one of the most lazy penalties that missed. He hit the post, I think. But the other penalties that Croatia did were fantastic. The Japanese penalties.
Oh my God, what the hell was going on?
The worst penalties I've ever seen. I never want to see them again. Really, really bad penalties.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of them tried to go the same direction but hit the post.
Oh, you just.
And then the one that went in, I think it was a fluky one.
Yeah, it's very poor, very, very poor. So Croatia then won, and they go through to the quarterfinals, where they're going to play Brazil, who played South Korea, and Brazil were brilliant.
4-1.
4-1. I mean, really, really good display. In fact, the Brazil, I think, well, everyone has now started to respect is the Brazilian defense is really good.
Oh, I agree.
It's very hard to score against Brazil.
Yeah.
And that's why they've got such a good squad. I mean, they you have a good basis when your defense is solid, midfield is fantastic, and strikers are magnificent. So 4-1 winners, deservedly so, and they really ran riot, and it was fantastic, fantastic. Then we had Morocco, Spain.
Oh my god, this game. So this game, right? I generally I don't know what it was, but this game was so boring that I didn't even watch the second half.
It was a really bad game. It was a really bad game. In fact, I think I walked out. It comes a point where you just can't watch the game. You know, it's just so boring. This game was worse than the England-USA game, I think.
Oh, I agree.
And you know, there have been a lot of complaints about Spain being a boring team, but I think even their best fans must have thought, "What the hell is going on here?"
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't. And during this game, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the Spanish fans decided to leave the stadium.
I would. Well, during the shootout, they definitely forgot. Wish they weren't there, because it was a 0-0, and then it went to penalties.
The second penalty shootout of the tournament.
Yeah, and you know, Morocco won 3-0.
Spain's penalties, I don't know what was going on, because they just could not find the net.
It was rubbish. I mean, it's just pathetic.
I mean, I think it was even worse than the Japanese shootout.
Really? The Japanese one was pretty bad. So yeah, I mean, they didn't score a single one. At least Japan scored one.
Oh, yeah, true.
Spain didn't even score any, and it's just that's not really acceptable. 3 straight penalties, and you miss all 3. It's just. Having said that, when you think about England in the Euros last year, 3 penalties, 3 misses.
Yeah, but the thing is, during the Euros though, we did have 3 new players who had never taken the penalties before.
Yeah, that wasn't very clever. But anyway, let's pass history.
Yep.
So Morocco go through surprisingly, because nobody expected them to go through.
Yeah, and the thing is that as soon as Morocco actually won the shootout. Here in London, there was a massive parade of all the Moroccan fans cheering and just parading.
Yeah. There's quite a big contingent of Moroccans in London, and yes, they had a little parade through London. And to be honest, you know, why not? They've actually done something that's quite amazing.
And also in Qatar, one of the towers actually lit up in the Moroccan colours.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because in Qatar, the tower lights, they actually change colours like every few minutes.
All right, fantastic. And then there was the last game.
Portugal, Switzerland.
Now, this was really quite an interesting game in the sense
that Cristiano Ronaldo was on the subs bench.
Well, when they announced the team before the match, people thought there might have been a mistake. Nobody could believe that Ronaldo was going to be put on the subs bench. But having said that, there was a lot of talk prior to the game where the manager of Portugal was not happy with Ronaldo because Ronaldo was substituted in the previous game and he didn't want to. I mean, he's so impetuous. Is so poor.
Yeah, and also, do you reckon it was because of the fact that he also got dropped from Man United?
I think that what's happened is that his attitude at Man United has now carried over into the national game, and I honestly think there are people there who think he shouldn't be there, and the proof is that Portugal came out so effectively with a revamped side, and they were amazing. They totally thrashed.
Yeah, I mean, the player that replaced Ronaldo, I forget his name.
Yeah,
but he actually got a hat trick.
Yeah, he's amazing. He was amazing.
And then obviously at the 70th minute, Ronaldo came onto the pitch and at first I thought he scored a goal, but it was given offside.
Yeah. He's too slow, you see. This is the problem. so it's easy to catch them offside as a result. But it's just a fantastic display by Portugal.
Yeah.
They're easily the best display of the World Cup, and they perfect timing in the knockout stage. 6-1. 6-1. I mean, that is just incredible.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't think Switzerland stood a chance once they got up to 6.
Yeah, I mean, Switzerland. To be honest, Switzerland lost the game within the first half hour of that game. The Portuguese were so good.
Yeah, I mean,
really,
I
really
remember
good.
watching the game. I remember watching the first half. Okay, and I think as soon as the first half finished, they were up by 4 goals.
Yeah. It was just a fantastic game,
Yeah.
and I tell you, the strange thing is the players seem to be playing with the freedom that wasn't there before. I think maybe there is a truth in the statement that when Ronaldo is playing for Portugal, or when he plays for any team, he wants the ball all the time because he thinks he's a magician and can score all the goals. The reality is he hasn't been scoring that many goals.
No.
People think he scores lots of goals, but he doesn't. And as a result, it gives a false impression of how good the team is doing.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's out of the way,
They
the way
shine,
they played,
yeah.
it was a fantastic performance all round.
Yeah.
So now we're into the last 8.
Yep, and now we're gonna give our prediction.
Just take us through who's playing who.
Yep, and then after that we'll give you our predictions as to who we think's gonna win.
Yeah, and you'll realise how bad my predictions are. But let's have a look.
So the first match, Croatia versus Brazil.
I think Brazil are going to win that.
I think so as well.
Modric has been fantastic in the group stages. He seemed to struggle for some reason against the Japanese, and it's really weird. In fact, the whole of the Croatian team kind of doesn't function properly when Modric is not playing well. So if Modric is on form, they might be able to put some defence up against the Brazilians.
But the thing is, Brazil are the number 1 team in the world at the moment, so
deservedly so, and they were fantastic in their match. So, and the way they beat South Korea was fantastic. So, I suspect they're going to win. What do you think the score's going to be?
I think Brazil might get like 4 goals in the match.
Really?
Yeah.
4. I think it's going to be either 2-0 or 3-0. I'd actually go. To be honest, it would not surprise me if it's 3-0.
Oh.
A lot will depend on are they going to play Neymar. I would like to see him on the subs bench. I think that Richarlison and the players around him when they're playing, they're just fantastic. Great. I think Brazil are going to win. I think it'll be 3-0.
Okay.
Okay, so then we have
Netherlands versus Argentina.
I just don't see how Argentina are going to lose this game.
I think Argentina. I would agree with that.
The Netherlands team, it's a bit like the Belgium team. The Belgium team, even De Bruyne said they were too old. There's too many old people in that team, weren't there? And the Dutch team, brilliant tactics against the Americans. But think about what those tactics were. We're going to sit and not run. Basically just conserving their energy.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to do that to Argentina.
No. Argentina will tear them apart, I think. Argentina will know how to break them down. So they're going to have to very quickly start attacking. And I think that the Argentinians will do it. Having said that, I think it might be a close game. I can imagine it being a 1-0. But I think Argentina will have lots of chances. And it will come down to just taking one of them.
Yeah. So next game, Morocco versus Portugal.
This is really interesting.
I can't see Portugal losing this match, if I'm being honest.
I can see Portugal struggling if Ronaldo starts.
Oh.
I think if Ronaldo starts and...
So you think if Ronaldo starts, it spells disaster for the team?
I think what will happen is he's easy to neuter. He's easy to stop from or put him in a position where he can't really do much. So your team effectively gets down to 10 men. And the Moroccans, they're not the greatest team, but they are very hard to score against, as you can see from the previous games. I mean, Spain couldn't score against them. They've had a very good defensive record. So I think they'll go for penalties. They'll try to get one match. I mean, Ziyech is there, isn't he? The Chelsea player. And he's a good player. So they've got a couple of good players in the Moroccan team, as you'd expect. So if a chance comes to score, I think they might take it. Will Portugal give them a chance? Quite possibly. But I think if Ronaldo's playing, they won't play with the same freedom that they did last time. And as a result, I think there's a good likelihood that it will go to extra time and then penalties.
Okay.
However, if they play like they played in the previous game against Switzerland and they have that same side out, they're going to thrash. They're going to thrash Morocco. I think that's what will happen.
They'll definitely bust Morocco with the same strategy. I think.
Yeah.
And then the next one is probably the biggest match of them all.
Yeah, this is the match on Saturday evening, isn't it?
England versus France. Oh, Jude Bellingham versus Mbappe.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Both teams are really doing well now.
Yeah.
The strange thing is, France have lost one game, whereas England haven't lost any.
So it's going to be interesting to see what tactics Southgate goes for.
It will be. And I think the French are... You can't surprise the French. There's no point in trying to surprise the French. I think they'll have to go with the same team.
Yeah, but the interesting thing
Senegal.
is... So I actually read on this yesterday that Mbappe wasn't in training.
Yeah, but I don't think he really needs to be in that much. He is... when in 1970, when Brazil won the World Cup for the third time and then kept the World Cup, Pelé didn't do much training. In fact, he played so much football. That year, he was focused completely on the World Cup. He wasn't even playing that many games in the leagues, but he kept himself fit. He made sure he wasn't getting injured, and he was totally focused. I think. Because we're mid-season and these players are already very fit. You can see Mbappe is super fit. The way he scored his goals, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to be
doing the extra training.
He doesn't need to be overdoing it. Sometimes rest is good, and I think that anybody who thinks, he's not taking part in training, there might be a problem. I think they're mistaken. I think he will definitely be a very, very big player. I know a lot of people now think that England are going to stand a good chance because they did so well against Senegal. But, the French team is really strong, really strong. England's team is brilliant as well. I mean, this is just a great game. This is going to be it's the first time the two teams have met in the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I hope it's going to be a really good game. If England score first or France score first, it won't make any difference. The other team will still score.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the great things about this particular game. Whereas in the other games, you can see if one team scores,
game over.
Then they can. The fact that the opposition then have to score a goal opens them up. You can see them, scoring more goals. In this instance, I don't think it makes that much difference. I think the score will be 2-1. It's going to be close, and I really hope it's England.
Yeah, so do I. Now, away from the World Cup, there's also been some interesting news regarding the teams that are knocked out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, some of the teams who have knocked out, their managers have actually resigned based on their performance.
So they haven't even waited until after the World Cup.
Yeah.
Normally you wait after the World Cup, isn't it? But here they haven't even waited. They just said, right, that's it. We're gonna
bye-bye.
Yeah.
And then I think the shocking news came on Tuesday morning when it was announced that Hazard was gonna retire from international football.
That was surprising. I think that it was surprising in the sense that it's the Euros are coming up. 2 years' time, you're going to have the Euros, and you would think that maybe he would try, because he's only 32, isn't he?
31, Eden Hazard.
Yeah, 31. So you would think, okay, 33 is not too bad. He can still go.
Yeah.
But yeah, retiring from international football, I think there was a surprise with that, but not unexpected. It's just expected to be later. However, there is a good side to it in the sense that it will give, I think, Real Madrid or any team that has him, if Real Madrid do get rid of him, will know that he's focused just on his football club and nobody else. And I think that helps sometimes. So I think it will be good for his club that he's actually made that decision. But it was a surprise to happen so quickly.
Yeah, when I first I was like, no, this can't be happening. And then I literally went on social media, and everybody was literally like upset, literally shocked about the announcement.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they expected it to come, because obviously, yeah. I mean, but the thing is though, I do understand why some people thought it's gonna happen based on the comments De Bruyne said about the team being old.
Yeah, I mean that is I mean Martinez, Roberto Martinez, isn't it? He also resigned as manager. It's an old team. I mean, it's actually an old team. I felt so sorry for Lukaku. Lukaku had quite a few chances.
So did
I mean, the guy's been injured. He suddenly comes back. Last game, you don't expect him to be amazing, but my God, he missed about 5 chances.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's something wrong there. Maybe, just weird. It's very, very weird. It wasn't written in the stars for them to go through. And De Bruyne is right. The team is old. They need to revamp. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens because of the fact they've been second in the world for quite a long time. You tend not to see the younger players coming through.
But I think now they've been knocked out, they actually need to do that, because that's what all the other teams are doing. They're bringing the young players up and getting them to the big leagues.
That's right.
And it's actually helped them shape up the national team.
That's right. So we're going to see some big changes at Belgium, and who was it? The Ghana? Who was the? I think one of the African managers left.
Yeah, Ghana.
Yeah. So.
And obviously South Korea have lost their manager.
Yeah, the South Korean manager, he resigned as well.
And Spain have lost their manager.
Yep, Spain. But having said that, I think a lot of people were happy to see the Spanish manager go because the football's been boring for a long time. In fact, quite a few of the comments that I've seen from the serious commentators were that Spain, after they won the World Cup in 2010, I think it was, they've actually been downhill ever since in terms of their performance.
I mean, it's really weird though, because Spain have got one of the biggest leagues, the La Liga.
Yeah.
And you'd think that having such a big league, they have some players that can match up to the players of the opposition.
Yeah, you think they can produce a great team. And technically, they are a great team. They've got great players. But I think the problem is that the manager's got them doing this ticky-tack Barcelona-style game.
Where you just pass the ball back and forth, back and forth.
Which is fine if you're getting through the defence and scoring goals. But, oh my God, it's so boring when all you're doing is going up to the penalty area opposition and then coming back again. I mean, it's a bit like the Duke of York marches men up the hill and back down again. I mean, it's just... It gets boring and it's horrible. So I don't think anyone's going to be unhappy that he's gone. And then we're on to the quarterfinals. We've got the quarterfinals. We just talked about those. What would be interesting is to figure out, just to talk about what's going to happen. Who's going to win? We know they're going to win, but who's going to appear in the semi-finals? Yeah. So we both said that Argentina and Brazil would win. That would put them, because they're on the same side of the draw, that means they go into the semis and play each other. Argentina, Brazil, big game. What do you think would happen?
Because the thing is, I know this is Messi's last World Cup, and at the same time, I know Brazil's also. I think Brazil is still still has that fight for the World Cup.
They haven't won in a long time.
Yeah.
It's interesting because Argentina won the Copa America, and before coming to the World Cup, they basically had about 30 odd matches.
36 matches undefeated.
I mean, they lost to Saudi Arabia of all people.
Yeah, I know.
But they've now come good, and they've. And I don't know. They're not going to fear Brazil at all, are they?
No,
they're not going to fear them at all.
And the thing is, Brazil won the football in the Olympics last year, so.
Yeah, but there's a limit to the number of players and type of players you can have. A lot of the older players aren't allowed to play. So I think it's the 23s primarily, with a few older players. I don't think the Olympics really counts for much. But Argentina will not be frightened of Brazil.
No, so talk about the Olympics. I actually think it does, because in the 2016, they actually said that Brazil was yet to win gold in that tournament.
All right,
and then it did,
yeah.
and that was the final piece to their international titles.
Yeah, Yeah. No, I can appreciate that. Um, I think it'll be really tight because the Argentinians know how to beat Brazil, but will they be able to deliver? A lot will depend on how much effort it takes to beat the Dutch.
Yeah.
If they have a tough game against the Dutch, I mean the match is only 4 days later, so if they have a really tough game against the Dutch, then I think that Brazil will win. But if they have a relatively easy game, say win 2 or 3-0, and they're not really breaking a sweat, then I think it's all to play for in the semi-final.
Yeah.
All to play for.
The thing
And
is
on the
going to
other
be.
side-
I think it's going to be an interesting game if the Brazil Argentina game, because when I think of, because obviously the South America, football is massive, and these two are the biggest countries at the moment.
Yeah,
So,
but I think that it's very strange. It's a tough game. Very very. It's going to be a tough game. Whoever wins is going to be a deserved winner. But Argentina might sneak it purely because of the fact that they've had so much success against them in recent years. On the other side of the draw,
so
England, we hope we're going to beat France.
Yeah.
But, it's going to be a close game. And if it goes according to me and it goes through to penalties, I think Morocco will win.
So you're talking about the Morocco-Portugal match.
Having said that, Portugal are pretty good at penalties as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very strange game. I hope it doesn't go to penalties. I hope that somebody wins, even if it's 1-0. And I think Morocco might sneak it. But a lot depends on his Ronaldo playing at the beginning. I think that, I know it sounds weird. It sounds anti-Ronaldo almost. But the difference was so big. And we've seen this with Manchester United, when they dropped him.
They started playing well.
The next game, they were awesome. So it is very, very strange. In fact, I read an interesting quote regarding Ronaldo, which I thought was quite funny, but also very true. And the quote was as follows: Ronaldo has been reduced to the role of a superstar that nobody wants.
Ooh.
So that basically sums up Ronaldo. They recognise he's a superstar. They respect him for all the matches he's played in the past and all the great goals he's scored and the trophies that he's won. But nobody wants him, and the reason they don't want him is, I think, one, he is old. He can't keep up the 90. He can't play 90 minutes at 10 speed, and also he's quite disruptive.
So you think he's got a massive ego?
Everybody knows he has a massive ego, but it's. I think it's quite interesting that it was this whole idea of he's the superstar that nobody wants. I think it really does sum it up. Which is why I think he may be a disruptive influence in the Morocco game. And I think the Morocco game, Saturday afternoon could end up becoming a very, very difficult game. I think it's going to be for Portugal if he's playing. I think he wants to play to prove that he's not what everybody else is saying he is. But sometimes you just got to accept you sit on the blooming subs bench and let the team just get the goal.
Yeah, but the thing is, did you hear what happened today? So apparently there was an article today about the Portugal, about something about the Portugal, about what the fans were saying, I think.
Yeah, so what happened was, I read that, and so the Portuguese Football Federation actually issued a statement afterwards saying that Ronaldo did not threaten to leave Portugal, the Portuguese team. What the fans, there was this rumour going around, and it wouldn't surprise me if even Ronaldo's own people put it forward. They had this rumour going around that he had threatened to leave the Portuguese squad because they weren't playing him, and they weren't, and he felt they weren't respecting him. But the Portuguese
issued a statement saying that's not the case.
Yeah, it's not the case. He never did that, and then after the Portuguese Federation said that, all of a sudden there was this tweet from Ronaldo saying the team comes first, country comes first, we're going to win. Fine, he could have said, if he had said that before, maybe it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, because he's the captain as well, so.
Yeah, but not when he's not on the subs bench.
No.
So it's gonna be really interesting. I have a feeling the manager is gonna drop Ronaldo again. He's not going to take a chance. If it was me, I wouldn't take a chance. Everybody knows you can't take a chance at that. Put out your best team, let them win the game. And I think that's what he's going to do. So, again, I come back to it. If Morocco are facing a team where they've got where Portugal's strike team, the forwards are led by Ronaldo, they won't feel threatened because he's slow. If it's the younger guys, they're going to get beaten. The younger guys will win, and I think they'll do that. So if it goes forward in the way that we hope, I think it'll be England and Portugal in the semi-final, and then it'll be the politics of football will get really interesting in the Portuguese. But yeah, that's it. So it's been a fantastic sort of last week, really, of the football.
A lot of surprises as well that we didn't expect.
The minnows did well, and yes, we knew they weren't going to get through, but man, they provided a lot of enjoyment, and I thoroughly enjoyed most of the matches. I mean, the only match that I didn't really enjoy was the Moroccan one.
I mean, I would agree. Like, I enjoyed all the matches apart from the
Morocco-Spain.
The Morocco-Spain one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe. That does help us. And we hope you enjoyed the discussion. If you have any thoughts, please leave them and discuss. And until the next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.